Are you ready to go? I'm ready to go.
I are ready to go, Cat.
Great. I believe I am also, with the exception of...
As is Gavel McLeod.
Oh, good. Well, then what else is there? Let's see. Current Geek is being recorded, is it? Let's just make sure. It's a verification. Yeah. We are verifiably recording. And we have the lead in, so here goes. Current Geek begins in 3, 2, 1.
I have
Current Geek!
Current Geek! Aha.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Current Geek, the talk show about items of interest to the geeks of the world and you. I'm Scott Johnson. He's Tom Merritt. Good morning, Tom Merritt. Afternoon, evening, whatever it is.
Hello, Scott Johnson. It's good to be back with you once again on the best way to spend a Tuesday evening ever invented by humans.
Whoa. I'm going to agree wholeheartedly with your assessment of that thing you said. And we're back. It's Tuesday. That means we got a show for everybody. And it's not a movie. It's not a TV show. It's news items and things that we found interesting during the week. That's what we do every other week. And it's
items
great.
of interest.
Yeah. It's right there
Selected
in the title.
for your enjoyment.
It's right there in the intro. It's written in there. I read it out loud already. And everyone knows now that that's what you're here for. And I'm glad you're all here because we got good stuff today. A lot of it because of you, because you guys help us out and stuff, which we'll get to a little bit later. Before any of that, time for this.
Herbert Hoover, Secretary of Commerce in 1922, finds infant radio facilitates news gathering, as do many others in high public office.
Tom?
Matt Groening is launching a comics publishing company.
What?
Shortly after Matt Groening ended his comics publishing company. The new one, the one that's launching, is called Bapper Books. They will start with Disenchantment Untold Tales, a collection of stories based on the Netflix show Disenchantment. Groening's Bongo Comics closed earlier this year after 26 years. So no more Bongo. Welcome, Bapper.
Bapper. Not sure I like it as much as Bongo, but...
Bongo's pretty good, huh?
It's pretty good. It's funner to say. More fun to say. It's, I don't know, it feels like it rolls off the tongue more. Bapper sounds like, I don't know. I don't know if I like Bapper.
It sounds like you're saying something by accident,
yes.
Right? That you meant to say something else and you accidentally said Bapper.
Yeah, Bapper is not the first thing that would come out of my mouth normally, but it's fine. Matt Groening has carved out his own decision, or his own world. He can make any decision he wants to do. He can close things and open things. But I do think it's interesting that it's during this last week or two where there have been more stories, I swear, there have been more stories about publishing and comics of various kinds, three of which we'll talk about today, this one included. I don't know what that means. I feel like that's a foretelling of something. It's supposed to be a sign, but suddenly big names in comic books are doing weird things. And it's kind of freaking me out. But have you ever read a Matt Groening published comic? Outside of Simpsons and all that.
I've read a Simpsons comic. I'm not sure if that was from Bongo.
I also read a Simpsons comic. I've also read some of his old Life in Hell stuff. I assume some of that gets reprinted there. I don't know actually, but maybe I'll check it out now. Now that it's made a little noise, maybe that's why you do this. You go a long time and nobody hears about what you're doing. Nobody knows what you're doing. And then suddenly I'm changing it to Bapper and everyone goes, oh, Matt Groening makes comics, right? We should go see what that stuff is. And so renewed interest in the world of Matt Groening published comics.
It's interesting to me, too, that Bongo shut down around the time of the closing of the Fox Disney merger, wherein Fox, the broadcast channel, did not become Disney's, but Fox, the studio that creates The Simpsons and holds the right to The Simpsons, did become Disney's. I don't know how much that had anything to do with it, but it could be winding up some old deals that got complicated and starting a new company so that you got no worries about that.
When I was reading the Simpsons comic that I was saying I read, I don't know who published it. Maybe it was him, or maybe it was one, like you said, maybe there was a deal to have that printed or published someplace else, or I don't know, but 26 years is a long time to have a thing and then to not have a thing. So, and then to have a new thing, I guess. But I guess good luck to him, and I'll perhaps check it out. And
Did you watch Disenchantment?
I did, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I liked it more and more as it went on. It took me a while to get into it, but by the end, I was blazing through it.
I was too. That was an interesting experience because I've been through that with him before. Futurama, my first dose of Futurama in '99 when it came out was hard. I didn't like it at first, and part of it was I knew what I was used to, and that was Simpsons characters.
It's a big part of it, yeah.
And because I was used to that, new voices and some returning voices, but even those were like weird and discordant because you're not used to hearing them in that context, and whole different focus on the show and a different slightly different kind of humor. And it took me a couple episodes, and then it was like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite animated cartoon of all time. And the same thing happened in Disenchantment rather, but I knew it. I knew it was happening while it was happening, and that was a conscious thing for me because I went in going, I'm going to have this experience again. It's something new from him, and I'm going to be a little off my balance because of it. And it's going to take me a while. And sure enough, when I got in,
because he's telling a different kind of story.
Right.
So it's not The Simpsons. It's not Futurama. It's not even Life in Hell. It's totally different.
Right. But by the time things got moving, and it wasn't that the show so much got better, it's just that I got in sync with it. I loved Disenchantment. I watched that thing all the way through and have done so twice now, and I can't wait for more of it. And I think it's really charming and funny, and it's all in its own way, and I loved it.
Do you love it enough to read a collection of stories based on it?
No, because I don't like any of that stuff. I don't like Simpsons comics. I don't like Bob's Burgers comics. I don't
Firefly comics?
That I can do, and I don't know why. I don't know what the difference is.
I think it's because there's no more Firefly, but with Bob's Burgers, Disenchantment, you're like, but there's going to be more of the show. I don't need to read the comics.
Yeah, that's true. But also, it's gags in comics, when it's so comic-y as it is, like the way it's all drawn is so comics, that I feel like to then move it to the page, take something away, or even if it's the same writers, it just throws me. I can't do Rick and Morty in comics. I can't do any of that stuff. It's got to be, if you do live action to comics, for some reason I have no problem with that. But I couldn't explain to you why, other than what you just said. Maybe it is because
I think there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance where you're like, okay, I can hear these characters' voices in my head. I know how this would look I just want to watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas if it's live action turned into a comic like Doctor Who or Star Trek, I don't know. But part of it is just that you can't get those anymore. It's like, oh, this is my only way to get more stories, kind of like Firefly.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
I don't know. Maybe I would read Futurama comics now that I can't get any more Futurama.
That it's gone.
Yeah,
maybe. I just feel like the movement matters, like the actual animation matters, the voices matter.
Yeah.
So just having the voices in my head isn't enough. But then again, I have no problem with a cartoon being made into a live. Like I have no problem with all these Disney remakes. Like none at all. I kind of like that they're doing it because I still have the animated stuff. I can go back and watch Aladdin or
No, you didn't hear. They actually not only delete the animated movies, they also wipe that part of your childhood out of your brain.
They just bomb that corner of the vault.
Yep.
Okay.
They irradiate that lobe of your brain, and then they ruin your childhood. They literally do.
These were just rumors up till now, but you've confirmed my worst fears.
Confirmed on CurrentGeek. Yeah.
Well done. Anyway, go check it out. It's now called Bapper, not to be confused with Rapper or
the Big Bopper.
Or the Mapper.
May he rest in peace.
Pieces probably, but yeah, go ahead.
Let's not get into Richie Valens next.
No.
Despite every headline you'll see, Mad Magazine is not shutting down. Here's what is happening to Mad Magazine. Issue number 9 will be the last on newsstands. So if you still get your magazines from newsstands, you won't be able to get Mad Magazine. Issue number 10 will start being available from comic book retailers, which already have Mad Magazine, so they'll continue to carry it, and by subscription. So if you have a subscription, you'll still get the next issue. However, future Mad magazines will feature reprinted classic Mad pieces. The only new content will come in end-of-year specials and occasional one-off features. So, like many magazines, pulling back from newsstands, going subscription only, and then the comic book retail, because that kind of ties in with the subscriptions, because you can do pull lists and stuff. And pretty much just relying on archival content, saving money on paying people like Dick DiBartolo, sadly, and only doing new content every so often.
Why do they? Okay, I have so much to say on this thing. I grew up with Mad Magazine in a way that was all-encompassing. I bought everything every month. I bought the compilations. I bought artist focuses stuff. I didn't care. I wanted it all. If there was a movie parody of a movie I'd never even seen, it didn't matter. I'd still read it top to bottom and never see the movie. It didn't matter. I was in love with everything they did, and it was a huge part of my childhood. And there are names like Jack Davis, maybe the biggest being Mort Drucker. Mort Drucker is still my number one influence ever. A guy's still kicking. He's like 90 something and doing great, but probably the best caricature artist / just inker ever. The guy is amazing. And when I heard the news, I was visibly broken about this. So you coming to me and saying, "Oh no, Scott, but it lives on in this form," is kind of exciting.
Well, honestly, the way I look at it, it's not living on in a form. Mad Magazine is paring down its original content, which is not a new thing. Life Magazine, for instance, continued to just put out old content for the longest time. Mm-hmm. And it's going to have some new content. So it's just not going to have new content every month. So that's a big change. It's the end of an era, no doubt. But it's still coming out and still available. And all the people are like, yeah, but not at newsstands. How many of you went to a newsstand lately?
Right. No.
How many of you even bought a Mad Magazine lately?
No, see,
right?
this is the thing.
This is them cutting costs and saying, look, we found a balance where we're not going to pay for as much original content. We're still going to put out the magazine. We're going to reduce the distribution because then we don't have to roll trucks and pay for space on trucks, and that saves us money. And they figured out a way to keep Mad Magazine around, keep it in business with new content still coming out, just not all the time. Yeah, no, 100%
correct in what you're describing, but I'm part of the problem. Like, if it needed to be a successfully, continually upward spiral growth market for Mad Magazine, I was certainly not helping, because I was probably 25, 26 when I stopped buying it actively. Once in a while, I'd grab something, or I'd see something at a flea market, but that doesn't help them. And I would stop buying it on the regular. And even though I have such fondness for it, at some point, it stopped being that important to me. And even though I still have this huge box out there in the other room just full of these things, and they're still really important to me, and I don't ever want to get rid of them, I wasn't helping on a monthly basis anymore. So in some ways, I outgrew it, like people like you do or whatever. But it was still kind of a shock to my system. Also, it should be mentioned, we're talking about, issue 10 is the last one, but it's a volume whatever. Like, this is 500 and something, more than that. It's a ton of issues.
Issue 10 of the current year. That means October.
Yeah,
the October issue. Yeah.
So I don't know what the total number is, but it's enormous. I have a copy of the old 50s tabloid style version of this thing. It was a little bit more like Tales from the Crypt sort of looking. Back in the day, and I have some really old Jack Davis art and some other stuff. I went to the Mad Magazine installation they have at the Columbus Art Museum, and it was amazing. And I saw a lot of Mort Drucker stuff there. I guess what I'm saying, Tom, is that despite these changes and despite the fact that it's not technically disappearing from the world, I still have just a big sad hole inside of me that recognizes how important Mad was.
Yeah, and that's fair. It's certainly the end of an era. It's certainly, a big change, and it's not the same as having new content every month. So, that's for sure.
Were you big on it when growing up, or did it have any effect in your life, or what was your deal with it?
I was prohibited from reading Mad Magazine growing up. My mother would not allow me to even pick it up at the grocery store and look at it.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, she thought it was filth that would rot my mind.
That's hilarious, because you're one of the more sarcastic people I know, and good parody, and it's such a bastion of early published parody that I would have thought you would have had 10 of these under your bed all the time. But it sounds like you were restricted.
I guess I'm wrong. Even though it is the issues do seem to line up with the months. TVZ Gon says the magazine numbering reverted to 1 with its June 2018 issue, so it's not necessarily tied to the month.
I didn't know that.
man.
Well, see, again, if I was more tied to my roots with my love of Mad Magazine,
Yeah.
I would have known that. And I would have probably, you know what, it's probably good. This lessened the impact because I would have been really upset. But I'll tell you what I'm considering, and you can tell me if I'm crazy because I trust you in these sorts of things. But I'm thinking about doing like an 8-part retrospective on why Mad Magazine was cool in podcast form because I need to get it out. I need to get some history in there, do some interviews.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah.
It seems like it'll be a time consumer, though, so there's a big question about, how much do I want to do and not get paid for it. But I really feel strongly that I feel like I got to do something. I don't know. Someone else will probably do it, but I just want to do like a little essay audio style thing, get some artists on, maybe get Dick DeBartolo on. He wrote for them for a long time. I know he's willing to do this sort of stuff. Get a few other people here and there if I can, and then talk to a lot of fans and then just look at the history of it. And I think that would be really cool, but don't count on it. I don't know. I don't know.
I think it would be great. I think you should do it. I think you should find the time to do it somehow. And Dick Bartolo, I'm sure he could hook you up with a bunch of other folks and get other interviews. So yeah, that would be awesome. I hope you can figure out how to make that happen.
I would love to do that. I can't make any commitments, but I'd love to. If I do, I'd give my left 3 toes off my left foot of anyone's choosing. If I could just have a 4-minute conversation over the phone with Mort Drucker, that's all I want. I don't know what condition he's in these days. I don't know if he wants
or whether
to talk
he
to
does
anybody.
interviews or anything. That would be amazing.
But man, that guy just so good. Anyway, Mad Magazine, rip, but also exist in peace, I guess, because you're still going to sort of be there. Yeah,
it's fair to be sad and call this the end of a sort. I do like the idea that it's going to continue to publish and occasionally have new content because, man, at least that means there's a chance.
Yeah, right.
There's a chance that it figures something out and turns a corner someday for some reason. Who knows?
All right.
The Walking Dead comic has a surprise twist.
Oh, my.
The surprise twist, if you don't want to know, stop now. The surprise twist in issue 193 is the Walking Dead comic is done.
What?
It was the last issue, and they didn't tell anybody it was coming. The quote is, "The Walking Dead has always been built on surprise, not knowing what's going to happen when you turn the page, who's going to die, how they're going to die. It's been essential to the success of this series. It's been the lifeblood that's been keeping it going all these years, keeping people engaged. It just felt wrong and against the very nature of this series not to make the actual end as surprising as all the big deaths."
So I agree. And I love that they could do this. Part of that is, you publish your independent creator owned content through Image Comics all these years. That was the right place to do it. Nobody else can tell you what to do. You get to choose. The show and shows continue to, muddle on and do whatever they're going to do. But I love the idea of being able to end this the way you want to. And this is great. And it's also going to drive crazy sales for that final issue. It's going to be an extremely successful venture. It sucks a little bit for people in distribution, like comic stores, who maybe have, I don't know, they've got projections that go out a number of quarters or whatever, and a lot of that depends on their big sellers. Walking Dead consistently a big seller. You're not going to have that because literally it's suddenly ending without any warning. So you got to change your projections. A lot of people have been talking about that. I think it's an issue, but at the same time, I would rather Kirkman have this freedom, and I think we as readers would rather have him do whatever he's going to do, and then we can just sort of judge it for that. And I'm suddenly interested in catching up on the Walking Dead comic again because I'm way behind. I think I stopped around 102 or something, and I'm still in Negan territory, and it's that old for me, so I need to catch up. What do you think of this? I mean, are you going to dive back in? Does it drive you to do that at all?
I have never stopped reading the comic.
Oh, so
I'm
you're
still
caught
subscribed. The problem for me is I don't always read it immediately. So sometimes I'll let 1 or 2 build up before I'm like, oh, I got to catch up on The Walking Dead again. And I'll watch 2, maybe even 3. So this caught me by surprise, but it showed up on our subreddit. I'm like, oh, I wish I was caught up. That would have been a fun surprise, but I can't wait to read it.
Yeah. I mean, I actually care. I want to read it now. I want to see what happens. So I will definitely
Yeah.
check it out and see how they end that thing. It's a phenomenon, whether people are bored of it or not, whether you think the show's gotten bad or not. Like whatever your feelings are on the long tooth that is The Walking Dead, you have to admire it or at least respect it for its cultural impact and its longevity and all of those things. And now we get to punctuate it with this crazy ending that just comes out of nowhere without any warning. Like, here's your issue. We're done. Out. And that's exciting to me for whatever reason. And plus, it ends the triumvirate of weird comic stories we had this week.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Publishing and comics dominating the headlines this week.
Yeah.
Well, let's change to Neil Gaiman. Well, okay, he's involved in comics, so it'll be a nice slow transition. Hollywood Reporter says a TV series based on Neil Gaiman's Sandman comic. Oh wait, it's entirely about comics. Will be produced by Warner Brothers Television for Netflix. It's reportedly the most expensive TV series DC Entertainment has ever done. Alan Heinberg, who worked on Wonder Woman, ABC's The Catch, and Grey's Anatomy, is set to write and serve as showrunner, and Gaiman will be one of the executive producers.
Make me nervous with Grey's Anatomy, but that's fine. Show running is not the same as a show I don't like. You know what I mean? I shouldn't even called it out. So forget it. Forget what I said about Grey's Anatomy. It's a great show. Enjoy your 19th season of that. Yeah, this is great. I mean, Vertigo, I guess this is an unrelated story and we're not talking about it here, but in somewhat related news, Vertigo also being dropped by DC. They're dropping it as a label name. And so Sandman, which was a Vertigo product, that's going away. They'll still do like these serious, I don't know, more cerebral comics. They just aren't going to have this name anymore. And so I love the idea that Sandman's going to get, something. I love this comic, reading it back in the day. It was a must
Well, and
read.
I think a lot of people certainly want to try or want to see this turned into a good television show. The question is it going to be a good television show, right?
Right.
And if Neil Gaiman's involved, that's positive, although he's involved in American Gods. And personally, I've been a little bit disappointed in that. So
Season 2 didn't really hold me the way 1 did. And
yeah,
one wasn't that
it's not
great either.
horrible, but it just didn't capture my attention. So yeah.
One didn't either, or it did, but it didn't. It wasn't my favorite thing I'd ever seen. I love the book, like I adore the book. So this is one of those cases where, I mean, Good Omens went real well. So, other stuff, other projects. Coraline was amazing. There are plenty of evidence that Gaiman-backed projects can absolutely work. It's just a matter of the right people, right showrunners, right writers, right actors, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully this is one of those. And I would love to catch up with that again because I've forgotten much of my Sandman story. I just remember loving it at the time. And I look forward to it. It'll be good. I'm sorry, I missed where they said this is coming. Oh, Netflix. Even better. Netflix. Tom, that's where I go to get my stuff these days. I feel like Netflix is on a bit of a roll right now. I know they're spending money hand over fist on content, but lately I've spent a lot of time basking in the hot glow of Netflix, and it's been fine. It's been great.
I keep forgetting to go to Netflix because it's not in the little strip at the top of Apple TV.
So what do you watch? So what have you seen late? Like, what's the most recent thing you've seen streamed? Just to do a test here.
The most recent thing I've seen, what?
That was streamed, like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, some show that's a streamed only show, not a.
Oh, I mean, do you count HBO or?
Yeah, we can count that.
Because I've been watching Chernobyl for that. I've been watching extras on Netflix for CurrentGeek.
Yeah.
I watch Earth Dog. I watch a lot of Netflix now that you're talking about it. I haven't been watching a lot of Prime Video lately. I was watching a lot of Hulu stuff for a long time, but not Hulu originals. I'm not even watching Handmaid's Tale.
Oh.
But when I go to see what's on, I've been watching a lot of movies. I did a whole Marvel rewatch. But when I go to just like, hey, what should I watch? I turn on the Apple TV and I look at the top, and Netflix isn't up there. So I have to go to Netflix to watch a thing that I know I want to watch. Like, oh, right, I need to watch extras for Cord Killers. Or Eileen and I are watching Art Doll Chronicles, and she'll launch it. Sometimes I'll watch Sabrina. I'm sort of slowly making my way through that. But I think a lot of it's movies and Simpsons. I keep watching The Simpsons.
Oh, and you're watching that where now? Where are you getting that? FFX or whatever?
I think it's still on FX now for the moment. It'll go to Disney Plus in November.
I'm looking forward to my life having a background Simpsons episode happening constantly 24 hours a day once that service comes out. I don't have FX right now, so I don't do it, but I want that Disney thing, if only, to just put that thing on, and it will just be on, and I'm getting work done, and I'm doing stuff, and it'll just be a part of my life. Can't wait for that. Come on home, The Simpsons. Come on home.
Yeah, man. I hope. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if I want to cancel anything once Disney Plus comes around.
Yeah, I can't think of one right now, but sometimes that you'll fill that hole, and then you'll go, "Oh, I could probably get rid of whatever," because this is doing that for me. So, we'll see.
All right, this next story has nothing to do with comics. Not that there's any problem with that, but for those of you who are like, please, can we just break it up, make it a little variety? Lego owner Kirkby Invest is teaming up with Blackstone and the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board to buy Merlin Entertainment, which operates the Legoland theme parks, as well as Madame Tussauds wax museums. Lego opened the first park itself in 1968 in Western Denmark, expanded, started a bunch of parks, and then sold the parks off to Merlin in 2005. So this is Lego taking them back.
Wow. Would you, is it just going to be Legoland everywhere? Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to just, it sounds like they're going to have whatever's there, but like, why
yes,
Lego?
They're buying back the parks. They're not changed. I'm not sure I understand your question.
I guess what I'm saying is
that Legoland parks in the world.
Yeah.
They are owned by Merlin.
Oh.
And Lego is buying them back from Merlin.
Got it. I thought they were buying additional parks and making them into Legoland parks. Now that makes sense. Okay.
Lego owner Kirkby, Blackstone, and the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board are buying Merlin Entertainment.
Okay.
Merlin Entertainment currently owns the Legoland theme parks and Madame Tussauds wax museums. And Lego used to own its own parks until 2005 when it sold them to Merlin. Now it's buying them back.
That's what threw me. I was thinking all the wax museums would become Lego attractions, which, look, if you're...
I shouldn't have thrown in the wax. That's just a side note.
No, but here's the thing.
Because they're buying Merlin Entertainment, They're getting more than just the Legoland parks.
Right. This is like GameStop owning phone kiosks in the mall or whatever. I get that. But
right. It's like, oh, we bought this. Look what came in the box with all the Legoland theme parks. It's Madame Tussauds wax museums.
I like this idea, though, because I'm not really big on wax museums. They bug me and I find them creepy. Why not? Since you're going to buy them anyway, why don't I go look at, here's John Wayne. Instead of wax John Wayne, Lego John Wayne.
Lego John Wayne.
What's wrong with that?
Michael Jackson. That could be interesting.
Yeah,
I think people would. But the whole point with Wax Museum is like, oh, it looks so real. It's like it's actually John Wayne, even though most of the ones I've ever seen don't look that.
No, they look creepy and weird, and I don't like them at all. They make me
I
feel
saw
bad.
one in Sydney, Australia, of Xi Jinping that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen Xi Jinping in person, but I was like, that looks like a human being.
Well,
sometimes they don't.
That's why. So outside of that, the reason this news is good for Lego is the people who make Lego or own Lego should probably own the parks. I think that's good. I would have, if you'd have told me a week ago, the people that are involved in Lego don't currently own the Lego parks or some of them, I would have been annoyed by that. Like, you're Lego, you should have your own parks. So, yay. Lego owns
That's
everything.
why all the Frog Pants parks are owned by Scott.
They didn't used to be, though. They were all owned by some weird Canadian investment
the Canadian
thing.
Pension Plan Investment Board.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Kirkby doesn't wholly own the Legoland parks. They're creating a company with these two other investment firms to own the theme parks, but it'll be majority owned by Lego.
I would like more of them, too. That's the other problem, is you have to go far to do anything if you live anywhere between the coasts. So here in America, anyway, give us some more parks. That'd be good.
Where do we have them? We have them in San Diego, and there's one out east.
Yeah. Wait, where's the one in I thought there was one in Orange County. No, do I have that wrong, or am I thinking?
It's south of Orange County, so I always think of it as San Diego because it's in Carlsbad.
Oh, okay.
So it's like halfway between Orange County and San Diego.
Yeah, so you got like two of those. Yeah, that's not enough.
And then there's one in Florida.
Right.
That's the one out east.
And that's far. That's the wiener on the end of the
country.
country.
There's one in Germany and one in Paris.
Is there one in
Dubai?
Where are they? Denmark? Where are the Lego people? I forgot.
Malaysia. They're in Denmark.
Denmark.
Yeah.
So is there a Denmark? There's
one in Denmark.
Okay.
There's also the Legoland Discovery Centers. Those are not full theme parks. That's part of this too.
Wow. All right. Well, good luck, guys, and I will come to one of your parks as soon as it's not 900,000 miles away from me.
Or 900,000 degrees out.
Yeah.
According to NPR, Connie Monsees told ABC News Start Here podcast how Google Maps navigated her and 99 other drivers into a muddy dirt road. Monsees was stuck in traffic on the way to the Denver airport and was following Google Maps advice to exit the highway to get around a backup. Ended up on a dirt road, which recent rains had turned into mud, causing many of the cars, not Monsees' car though, to get stuck. Monsees had a 4-wheel drive, was able to actually pick up a few other people whose car was stuck and take them with her. Google said the road was not marked private, and while it does account for road size, issues can arise due to unforeseen circumstances, such as when weather conditions affect the quality of roads.
We talked about this on TMS as well, and it cracked
Seems
us
like
up.
a TMS.
Oh yeah,
story.
totally. And it just there was pictures, and they showed just these people, these poor people, just sort of like parked for forever. And
You mean
there was
Ibbott didn't go out and do an on-the-scene report? Come on.
I know. What kind of reporter is he? I take his credentials. He needs to go back and relearn. But no, it looked miserable, and reminded me of the time that I got pushed off because of an accident. We got put off into a what was supposed to be a detour that was actually a dead end. So that was a police mistake. It wasn't Google or something. But we got stuck in a dead end, and nobody could get out because we were all packed in there. And I had to pee in a bottle. That's how that went.
Yeah.
Peed in a bottle. Because look, when you're stuck, what are you going to do? You got to pee. There's people everywhere. You can't get out and pee. So you grab a bottle and you pee. Yep. Right in the bottle.
I'm just saying, those of you who haven't ever had to pee in a bottle, good for you.
Yeah. Tonight, look outside, take a deep breath, and appreciate the fact that you never
Think
had
of Scott
to pee in a
Johnson
bottle.
in a dead end and me in a blizzard in West Virginia. And praise your luck.
Yeah, because it was not good, but I did. Here was the fun part. I came home with the bottle. I had a cap for it and everything. Came home with this bottle, it was a water bottle. And my neighbor, her name was Sally, and I used to tease her all the time. She was just a funny lady, and we used to tease each other all the time. So while she's out there doing yard work, I walked over to her house. I looked at her. I said, "How's it going?" And I took my bottle of pee, and I just set it on her trunk and then walked away. Just set it there. And it, nothing gross, didn't spray it anywhere, or anything like that. I just left her a bottle of pee, and she looked at me.
Tell her what it was, though,
No.
so she didn't take a big swig of it?
No, I didn't say anything. I think she knew. That was the kind of relationship we had, but yeah.
I see.
Anyway, don't get lost, everybody.
I threw mine in the trash as soon as I got out of my car.
That was the right thing to do. I do not want to advocate what I did. It's bad.
I want to say it was a Pepsi Clear bottle because it was that time when Pepsi Clear was new, but it probably was just like a Mountain Dew or 7-Up bottle.
What year was that? Oh my gosh, was that 80s? Yeah.
It would have been 93.
93. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just trying to figure out what eras I could actually get Pepsi, or what was it?
I was on my way back from visiting my girlfriend to Washington, D.C., to where I was an intern at National Public Radio's Morning Edition.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nicely done. You have cool intern jobs. You know that? I'm sure you know that, but...
Well, I had that one.
Well,
that was the only internship I ever
But didn't
had.
you have one? Oh, no, that was when you were going to school and you had that teacher who we had on the show that one time that kind of went a little weird.
That was the Washington Center for Politics and Journalism. That was my internship.
Yeah, Gotcha. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, it was part of an intern program. Yeah.
Do you remember that episode? That was rough. You remember that?
Oh, that was a challenging episode, wasn't it?
It was, but I'll tell you what makes this show a lot less challenging to produce is the contributions of our wonderful listeners. They all go to our subreddit and they send us cool stories. Tom, who should we give credit to today?
Big thank you to Very Understated, Strike It Rich 1, Captain Kipper, Jeff Rose, and Kilmarnock 1285. Who all submitted stories that we used on the show today. Thank you to all of them and everyone who votes and make sure we know what you want to hear us talk about at currentgeek.reddit.com. That's currentgeek.reddit.com. Go there. Don't forget.
Write it down. Bookmark it. Remember. All right, it's time for rolling. You know what that means. Or do you? I don't know if you do. Here's what it is. It's a new segment called Keep on Roland, where Tom reads Scott a passage from French literary critic Roland Barthes' seminal work, Mythologies. And he's got it right there in his hand, and he's going to read it. And this has been a really fun thing, and I love it. So, Tom, take it away.
Yeah, how are you feeling about these?
I like them a
we've done
lot.
a handful now.
I like them. They're weird, and I come away not exactly totally getting them, but I don't care. I like them.
I think this one may be one of the more accessible because you're right. They're post-structuralist criticism, right? And
Sure.
semiotics and all that.
Right.
This one is from an essay called "The Face of Garbo."
All right. Greta Garbo, I assume.
Greta
right?
Garbo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Although he never calls her Greta Garbo in the entire essay, he just calls her Garbo. Like, you all know who I mean.
Oh, all right.
As he takes a big draw off his Galois cigarette.
I called her Garb. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Garbo still belongs to that moment in cinema when capturing the human face still plunged audiences into the deepest ecstasy, when one literally lost oneself in a human image, when the face represented a kind of absolute state of the flesh, which could be neither reached nor renounced. A few years earlier, the face of Valentino was causing suicides. That of Garbo still partakes of the same rule of courtly love, where the flesh gives rise to mystical feelings of perdition.
Whoa. I don't know what to make of that.
He goes on to call Charlie Chaplin the dark vegetation of his eyes.
Okay.
And compares Greta Garbo to Audrey Hepburn, saying the face of Garbo is an idea, that of Audrey Hepburn, an event.
Well, that is highfalutin, is what that is. They really know how to puff up a piece there.
I think I need to push you a little now that you're getting used to Roland. I think I need to get you to interpret these.
All right, maybe I'll do more. We'll do some more interpretation as time goes on. I am getting used to them.
All right. Face of Garbo. Oh, you got that. That made sense.
That makes sense. The face of Garbo. Sure.
Right. That's one of the Doctor Who things. The face of Garbo.
Yeah, he should do the face of Groucho next. I want to hear about Groucho's face.
I think there is something about Groucho in mythology.
Probably is. All right. Well, good work on that. Hey, before we move on to forecast, let me tell you about our little Patreon we run. Patreon.com/CurrentGeek. That's right. CurrentGeek is a simple name. Put it in one word. And boom, you're presented with some options and some levels and some things that you can get if you support this show. A lot of you have, and we'd love it if more did. It helps make the show possible, and it's a way for you to give back to the shows and content you love. Go to patreon.com/CurrentGeek and consider helping us out today.
The future promises even more startling things to come.
It's Forecast. It used to be a show. That's now a segment where we try to predict the future. It can be in pop culture, technology, whatever we're feeling like. And today, I was feeling something in particular.
All right.
Which is this. We talk a lot about augmented reality, mixed reality. That stuff will just get smaller, more compact, more, better resolutions, more convincing technologies, that sort of thing. And as we get further and further down that road, I'm convinced that at some point, maybe not too far, I wrote soon, but I don't think it's actually that soon, we'll be able to flip a switch, basically, and skin the world around us in any way that we want. And it can be based on a theme. So you could be walking through the mall and say, boy, I'm bored of this. I'd sure like to see the bumblebee skin. And now everything's colored black and yellow and has...
Did you watch Stranger Things season 3 yet?
No. Did they?
What if you could walk through the mall and just turn it into 80s mall?
Oh, my Lord. I'd do that. Well, you could do that. That's the whole point. You could make everything 80s or whatever theme you want. Dark, light, stuff happening, explosions, whatever. But it would not affect anybody else. Nobody else would see what you're seeing. You couldn't make other people see it. I think part of this was brought on by, I saw Far From Home over the weekend. And I was thinking a lot about projection and holograms and that kind of stuff. And it just got me to thinking about it. But in this case, it's not to convince anyone else. It's just for you to map and skin. It's in the same way that we like to change our desktop backgrounds or adjust what screensavers we have running or change our phone welcome screen and background and those sorts of things. And being able to skin it any way you want, maybe even in the way that the Cylons did in the remake of BSG back in the day. They were always talking about how they would... In fact, I think they showed it once. One of the models is walking down a dark, dirty hall in a ship, but in their view, they're seeing flowers and beautiful arrangements and all this other stuff, and they show it briefly. I love that idea, because if you're just feeling like you need a certain... I don't know... You just want to skin stuff, so skin your surroundings. I have this green screen now. Tom can't see that I'm doing it, but people at home can see that I've got a background back there. On a whim, I can go, I'm not in the mood for that anymore. I'm going to put a cool, oceanscape or something. I can do it in like a couple of clicks. I think we're going to get to a place where our world
Wait, they're not really stormtroopers behind you?
No, there's a bunch over there, but they're not right behind me. No. See, it's the magic of the green screen. So I'm talking about the future magic of the AR skin life. You're going to skin everything, and you might even pay for premium skins. You'll be in a little store, and your interface, your UI, going, doot, doot, doot. Ooh, I like this one. Blip. 99 cents later, you got a new skin, and it would be. Here's the big difference, though. It'd be dynamic, so it would map dynamically depending on where you were. It wouldn't be a preset because you're in a place it doesn't know. You're in a new building or something. It would just be smart enough to theme everything the way it needs to theme it. Kind of the way we do with like Snapchat filters now. Like it doesn't know everyone's face, but it sure knows how to put bunny ears on them, you know?
Yep.
Like it's smart enough to know. So I think that we're going to get closer and closer to something like that. It'll probably be headwear or implants, but we'll be able to skin our world. What do you think of that?
I have so many thoughts about this.
Oh,
honestly.
all right.
First of all, it's going to be great if you live in a crappy apartment. The first thing I thought about was like, oh my gosh, if I could imagine these places I used to live from time to time and just being like, oh, what if I had big windows that looked out on an amazing ocean scene or something, instead of this tiny window that looks out over the garbage bins in the alley, and just to remodel your house. To remodel your house, you click a button. All your furniture becomes Rococo style, and then of course there's the mall thing, where you could rebrand the things around you. If you live in a neighborhood where you're like, man, houses in these neighborhoods are dull and all the grass is dead, just suddenly make it all lush, full of mansions. That's totally the kind of thing I could see them selling. I also think there will be issues over the right to reskin the world around you. So if I'm a company that has spent a lot of money on what my store or restaurant looks like, and I've spent a lot of money on my logo, I'm not going to be happy about you being able to walk down the street and just change that look, right? And I'm certainly not going to be happy about somebody who sells a skin for my store or restaurant without my permission.
Interesting. Hadn't thought of that. I also hadn't thought about what this would project on people, like other people.
Ooh, yeah. Could you change the looks of the people around you, make them all like Cylons or stormtroopers?
Yeah, or naked. Yeah. I mean, you start to get to some dangerous territory, right? It starts to get creepy.
Well, yeah.
So that's an issue. You're right. And also, I hadn't thought about the company thing, but also I figure if you're in their store, they should care less. But maybe we become a lot more generic in our marketing. I don't know. But I do like the idea of humans.
I think there would be attempts to try to block you from reskinning certain locations.
Okay, that I could see. Yeah, there'd be some kind of like skin block.
Like you can't skin the Apple Store into a Microsoft store. Not allowed. So you have to get the VPN service and get the pirated skins.
That's what people would do too, because that's the fun of it. It's subverting it. Like it's the rebellious nature of humans. I think you're onto something. Like it's not all going to be peaches and cream. There's going to be a fight over all this stuff. But I do think the tech is getting there, and we're already to a place where I can do things with a Snapchat filter that would have blown my mind 10 years ago. And now it's just dumb. Now it's just a thing you do, and it's no big deal. And it's just some dumb filter within an app you already have. I think there's a future of all of that for sure. But it's got to be. It absolutely for sure has to be. You're only skinning it for you, and if you got somebody with you who wants to share that, fine. But there's got to be like, you got to agree to it somehow. Like, yeah, I want my vision also to be for
other people.
Yeah, for other people. Like, I also want to see them all this way. And then, you join their, I don't know, their little local area skin network. But then there's
I mean, that would be a definite option that people are going to try to do. Like, would you like to join the shared experience, right? And companies will use that as a marketing tool. Like, it's the Pepsi skin. Join in and get a free Pepsi and walk around in Pepsi World.
I like it. And then put Coke everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's my idea. You guys, you've always got good feedback about what we say for forecasts. So send those in and let us know what you think, because we are always open to your ideas as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the best thing of all time this week. That's the best thing of all time this week. And that's a thing we're really into that is like feels like the best thing of all time, at least for this week. And Tom, let's start with you. What do you got?
Well, I said earlier that I don't watch a lot of Netflix, and then I named 16 Netflix shows that I watch, and here's another one. I finally got around to watching the entire run of the very short, they're like 15-minute episodes, sketch comedy series, I Think You Should Leave.
I've never heard of this, so I'm excited. Tell me about it.
Okay, do you like things like Mr. Show?
Yes.
And Upright Citizens Brigade?
Yes.
And
Kids in the Hall, that sort of stuff.
Yes. I Think You Should Leave is not what I'm telling you to do. It's what I'm telling you to watch.
Oh.
It's great. It is modern sketch comedy. So it's the same idea where, a sketch will go on for a minute or two. It'll hit its punchline, then it moves on to another one. Sometimes they'll come back to the same sketch, sort of Monty Python style. But they are funny. They are subvertive. They sometimes you think it's going to go to a particular place and it doesn't. And they have great guests. There's a bunch of your favorite comedians that guest on here, along with the main two guys that do it.
Oh yeah, I see. Jason Sudeikis is in this. I see.
Jason, I don't remember seeing Jason Sudeikis.
Well, Old Man on a Plane. Who is that?
Oh, I thought that was not Jason Sudeikis. I thought that was the guy from Last Man on Earth.
Oh yeah, that's who I mean. What's his name?
Bill Hader?
Not Bill Hader. No, it's shoot.
Guys,
chat.
Will Forte.
Will Forte is what I meant. They were on together. Sudeikis and him were on together, and I always mix them up.
And they were both in Last Man on Earth, so that didn't help you any either.
Yeah. Wow! Look at this list of people. Holy crap! Yeah, these are all stand-ups and. Wow. You know what? I should check this out. I do like that kind of comedy. Is it super uncomfortable comedy? Like, is it just making you squirm? Is that the idea?
Here's the thing. It veers along that edge.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go over it too often. So there's some uncomfortable, awkward moments here and there. There's a really hilarious sketch about birthday presents.
Mm-hmm.
That starts innocently enough where the guy's like, oh my gosh. And the funny thing is they're all lame presents, but he loves, it's the guy from Walking Dead. The guy who played the guy with the baseball cap who helps Rick get out of Atlanta. Stephen Ewan is the actor's name. I can't remember the Walking Dead character's name, but Steve Ewan plays the guy who's getting these lame birthday presents. And then the one from Robinson, one of the main guys, he's like kind of less excited about. And so he starts like, well, do you like it? Because I gave you a gift. If you like it, give me the gift receipt back.
Yeah.
And so it kind of, you can imagine where it goes. It builds from there.
Yeah. That sounds funny. I'd watch that. That seems good. I see Fred Willard's in here.
Thank you, Telzarell. Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn is his name. Fred Willard's in this. I like Fred Willard. Well, there's all kinds of actors I like in here. Okay. All right. You got me. I think I'm going to check it out. And that's high praise if you're calling it the best thing of all time this week.
I watched all of the episodes either in the Detroit airport or on the plane. Because they're downloadable. I watched the last couple on the plane, but great way to pass the time.
I agree. Hey, I was in that airport once. They had a piano guy there that was really good. It's my memory of the Detroit airport.
There was a piano playing, but there was no guy at it.
Oh, all right. Well, now they're fooling with me. I wonder if he was ever there.
Uh-huh. I thought that was weird.
Wasn't even a year ago. All right. My favorite thing of all time this week is right here. Let's see. Oh, I thought I had the box.
You thought you had a box?
I got the box. Super Mario Maker 2 is a video game. Oh, look how weird it looks, chat room, because of the green screen. Tom sees it normal. Anyway, I picked this up for the Nintendo Switch, and it is what you think it is. It is more Mario Maker. Mario Maker, a very popular title, perhaps the most popular title that the Wii U ever saw, which says a lot because that wasn't an extremely popular device. But this came out for the Switch as a direct sequel. It uses the touchscreen to create levels. You can also just play it on a TV and download everybody else's levels, rate them, all that sort of stuff. If you're not familiar with the series, it's just a way for you to live your childhood dreams finally of making your own Mario levels, and also, turns out, playing everybody else's. It also does it in 5 different Mario styles: the original Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario World, Super Mario Brothers U, and Super Mario 3D World are all the different styles you can work in. And it's very true to all of the styles. And you can then post your levels to the world, and the world can play them and rate them. And there is a unlimited supply of new content happening on this thing every day. Also has a nice story mode, which the first one did not have. So if you're just in it to play some Nintendo levels and have some fun, you can. I'm really impressed with it. It's super good, and it scratches all my platforming itches. I think they have it's obvious they have a huge hit on their hands because the sales data is already in. This is a huge hit, but it's very good. So if you are looking for some retro gaming along with some modern twists and a chance to just play stuff other people make, good stuff. And there's some really hard levels. Like, some people are making the most insane levels I've ever played in any video game in here. And there's also lots of people who are making less crazy, more simple, you can definitely finish kind of stuff. And it's fun to experiment and dink around. So I streamed this the other day. That's also a lot of fun, is to stream these levels. Do check it out. It is Super Mario Maker 2, a gigantic hit on the Nintendo Switch.
Claim back your childhood.
Yes, take it back. Grab it by the...
Remember when Nintendo took your childhood from you?
Yeah, I do.
Y'all remember that. They went and like deleted your childhood.
Yeah. They didn't zero
now
out.
You have a chance to take it back.
They didn't zero out the drive, turns out, so you can still go back and get that data.
It was recoverable.
That's
your childhood had a backup.
It was expensive, but it worked.
Thank goodness.
It's called the Nintendo Switch, and there it is. All right, so there's one level I had one level the other night that I absolutely could not beat on the stream. I played and couldn't do it. And then finally, it turns out the trick was jumping in the air and hitting a block that was invisible to everybody, including me.
The old invisible block.
Yeah, you can do that. And that's just people not trolling you, but, the levels have to be finishable. That's the thing. You cannot make one that is impossible to finish, or else you can't publish it. The game knows if you can or if you can't. But that does not stop people from doing some very diabolical stuff, and it's a challenge in its own right. Yeah, it's really good. Anyway, there's that. Before we get out of here, a reminder. Legal Geek this week on the show covers the census and the citizenship question. That's been all the rage in all the political corners lately. And if you want to understand what that stuff means from a lawyerly perspective, you can check that out right after we're done here. This is that Supreme Court case prohibiting the addition of such a question on the 2020 U.S. Census. That's Legal Geek coming up right after Tom and I are done here. Next week, we're going to get a little Asian all up in here. Tom, what are we watching for Autopilot?
It's Autopilot. This is available on Netflix here in the U.S. It's a Korean series called Memories of Alhambra. It is set in Spain, and it's about a video game company, to your forecast point, that does an augmented reality video game.
Wow. All right, then.
It's a Korean game company operating in Spain, this augmented reality video game, and then something gets out of order, and there's adventures and mysteries and all that kind of stuff.
And you've seen a lot of this already?
I have not seen any of it.
Oh, we're gonna go into
my wife Eileen binged the entire thing and loved it.
Okay. And so we're talking subtitles here. What are we getting with this?
Yeah, it's subtitled.
Okay, I'm down. I'm excited. I like weird new stuff that I hadn't thought of before. So there it is. That's coming next week, and it's called, again, Memories of Alhambra on Netflix. And it's listed as Netflix original, so it ain't going anywhere. So do not stress if you're like, oh, what if it leaves? It'll be there for you.
It will remain your friend.
It will indeed. What else? I think that's it. Tom, you should probably mention anything you got going on right now that people can check out.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the Free Tom newsletter conversations right now. The newsletter itself is a chance for me to just tell people what's up with me, a little bit about what I've been doing. Like, for instance, this week I'll be telling you about that podcaster roundtable I went up to in Hamilton, Ontario, the things that I've been working on writing-wise, as well as links to all the episodes I do every week. Every week there's a Current Geek link in there, as well as Daily Tech News Show. It's a thing, all that stuff. But the one thing that you can do is just respond to that email and ask questions or let me know what's going on. I've got one guy, Scott Reinhardt, who's just been doing like a weekly update on what's going on with him. It's been great. So if you want to be part of that, freetomnewsletter.com.
Do check it out. All right, that's going to do it for us, everybody. Thank you for being here. CurrentGeek.com is our website. Patreon.com/CurrentGeek is our support website, so go use that. You can leave us voicemails at 801-471-0462 or email us, currentgeek@gmail.com. That's going to do it for us. For me, for Tom, for all of you. We'll see you next time. Why isn't this working?
Why wasn't what working?
My volume up, my fade in wasn't working, and it's fine.
Oh, I was hearing the music though.
Yeah, you heard. I think it came in late. I'll fix it in post. It's not hard. It's easy. There